We're going to do a heart opening flow, and it'll be about 30, maybe 40 minutes. So just do what you can. No worries if you fall out of something, just come back into it whenever you are ready. And remember that child's pose is always an option for you. So we're going to start lying on our backs. We want our feet to be together. So we're in a Supta Baddha Konasana position. Palms facing up towards the sky. And just start to connect to your breath. We want nice, long, slow, deep inhales and exhales. This is going to help to calm the mind and bring our awareness inwards today. Start to feel your body melting away into your mat, feeling the ground beneath you, knowing that it's got you. I'd like you, if you have the shoulder mobility, to bring your hands behind your head. And this is going to start to open up the heart area. You can always bring them to cactus shape if above your head is a little bit too much, as this is already quite a deep opening, and we are right at the beginning of our practice. On your next inhale, I want you to bring your knees into your chest. Bring them close to your body. And then wrap your arms around your legs and give yourself a nice big hug. Maybe bringing your chin and forehead towards the knees just to get a deeper opening down the back of the spine. And then we're going to start to make some rock and roll actions backward and forward. So we're going to go back to the end of the mat and then up. And we'll do this a few more times. Seeing if you can hold your balance in the middle. Trying not to go all the way over and trying not to let the feet touch the floor. And then the next one, we're going to come all the way over to our hands and knees. So you need more momentum. Cross the legs over. Maybe step the legs back a little bit so you're in your all fours position. So we're going to get really into this heart area. So we're going to come to cat-cow. So we're coming to cow first. We're rooting firmly into our hands, pushing our bellies down to the mat as our heart comes up towards the sky. Then we tuck our chin to our chest and round the spine. And we'll do this again. Cow and cat, and then maybe making these circles a little bit bigger, so moving into them like waves. And then maybe even going side to side, just really feeling into all these areas of the body which we often neglect. Be shifting forward and back and forward, really feeling your spine warming up. Now we're going to walk our hands forward as we shift into puppy pose. So our knees are coming to the outside edges of the mat, toes can be touching, hands are coming really far forward, and then you're just going to melt your heart down to the mat. You can be on the fingertips or flat on your palms. Just breathing here. Maybe being able to rest the chin on the mat. Now we're going to come up onto the hands and we're going to shift our weight forward and come to a cobra pose. So we might need to tuck those toes under, worm the body forward and snake up into our cobra. Making sure the shoulders are rolling down the spine and our heart is going up and shining to the sky. Then we'll push back and come into our puppy pose. And then shift forward again into our cobra. And then we'll shift back one more time. And then as we come forward, this time we're going to come to an upward facing dog. So we need to really push into the hands, tuck the toes under to lift those thighs off of the mat. Shoulders still rolling down the back of the spine. And your pelvic bone is being pushed in towards the mat, but should be slightly raised up. Maybe dropping that head back to get a deeper heart opening. And then push back to downward facing dog. So as it is the first one of the practice, we'll stay here for a little bit longer, feeling into the backs of the legs, so maybe bending one knee and then the other. This will just help us to get deeper down the backs of the legs, opening us up, ready for our practice. So if we all come up high onto the toes for a second, make sure you're melting your heart towards the mat, and then slowly, gently pushing the heels towards the mat, but they do not need to reach. This is just a gesture of where they are heading. One day they will meet, but no worries if you don't today. Then we're going to lift up our right leg and we're going to bend it. And at the same time, we're going to come into this kind of cow position that we were doing in the cat-cows. So our chest and heart's going to come forward and up, and our toe is aiming, reaching for our heads, coming into a back bend here. Then we're going to shift forward into this upward facing dog position that we just did, keeping your leg and your head in the same position. And then push back. 3-leg dog, keeping that leg up nice and long now. Maybe bending the knee to get deeper into the hip. Then we're going to bring this right knee to our nose and hold. So we'll hold it here, igniting that fire in the belly for 3, 2, 1. Then place it in between the hands and rise up to our high lunge. So as this is a heart opening class, you can lean back and create a gentle back bend. But if you lose your balance, then just bring it back to the center and then maybe test it, seeing if you can go back again. Now we're going to twist round to the right side, bringing our right hand to the left leg and come into our revolved high lunge. So hearts should be shining up nice and tall to the sky. Then we'll windmill these hands back round to the front of the mat into our low lunge. Just sink into those hips for a second, maybe rocking backwards and forwards. And then we'll step back that right leg to meet the left into our plank. Then the first one will lower our knees to the mat, and then the chin and the chest. Then we'll come up to cobra, maybe looking over the right shoulder, and then looking over the left. And then maybe tilting that head back. And then we'll lower down and push back to our downward facing dog. So maybe getting a little bit deeper into our downward facing dog this time. Taking whatever variation you would like. So maybe taking the feet wide off of the mat, sinking into those hips and just feeling a slightly different opening. Just testing out options that feel nice to you in your body today. Then we'll all bring it back to centre if you went out. We've got the same on the left leg, so bring that left leg up nice and high. Then we're going to bend that left knee, aiming it to point towards the head as we lift that head up towards the sky. Then we're going to shift forward into our upward facing dog variation of this posture. And then back to three-leg dog. Maybe opening up the hip here to get deeper into the position. Now we'll bring this left knee to the nose. Again, firing up those bellies. And then place it in between the hands and raise up to our high lunge. Again, maybe making a gentle back bend here. Then we're going to lower that, twist round to the left side, lower that left hand to the right leg and come into our revolved warrior, our revolved high lunge, sorry. Wimble those hands down to the mat, come into our low lunge for a second, just feeling into those hips. Remembering to breathe, as we sometimes forget when we're in challenging holds. Step back into plank, and this time we'll lower chaturanga, or you can lower your knees if you find this too difficult. Just tuck those elbows into the body, lower, 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 upward facing dog or cobra. Push back, downward facing dog. Maybe taking a nice deep releasing breath here. So inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. This will just release any toxins that are no longer doing us anything good. Then we're going to bring those feet together. So we'll bend the knees and either walk, step or jump to the top of the mat. We'll come to a halfway lift or flat back. So your hands can be on your shins or touching the mat if you have the flexibility. And then we'll all forward fold. As it is the first one, we'll take a ragdoll variation. So maybe separating the feet a little bit, catching the elbows in opposite hands and just hanging down. Maybe bending in to the left and the right knees. And then we'll come all the way up to standing. Bring those hands up nice and high. And then bring your hands through heart center. So now we're going to build on this a little bit. So toes touching, heels slightly apart. Inhale, hands up to the sky, and then we're going to come to a gentle back bend. So just rock back with your body, keeping your the length in your legs nice and tall, not bending into the knees, and just shifting that weight back a little bit. Maybe dropping the head back. Then we'll forward fold. Then we'll come to halfway lift. Step back right leg into a low lunge. Lift those arms up to the sky and then tilt back. So we come into our gentle heart opener here. Then we're going to bring this right hand next to the left and open up to an easy twist. We want to make sure that heart is drawing nice and open, so the left hand is coming over to the right side of the mat. Then we're going to place that left hand on where the left foot is, lift up that left foot and come to star. So place the left foot next to the right hand and open up the body, right hand coming up tall to the sky. Again, shining this heart open. Then bring the hand back to the mat. Step back, three-leg dog. Bring the knee to the nose and we'll hold for 3, 2, 1. Step it in between the hands, come up to high lunge. And we're going to revolve our lunge again. So we're going to twist towards the left, place that left hand onto the right leg and sweep this right arm up and over the head. Then we'll bring our hands down to the mat, step back to plank, lower either knees or chaturanga, upward facing dog or cobra, push the hips back, downward facing dog. Again, taking a few moments to just connect back to the breath in case you lost it. Then we'll bend through the knees and jump or step to the top of the mat. Come to halfway lift, forward fold, and then rise all the way up to the sky. And we're going to come straight into the other side. So we're going to gentle back bend, maybe dropping the head back, forward fold, halfway lift. Now we'll step back with the left leg into our low lunge. Sweep those hands up high. Come into a gentle back bend. Left hand's coming next to the right foot this time. Push through that left leg and open that right arm up to the sky into our easy twist. But we want to have a variation here with our hearts open. So your right arm is coming towards the left side of the mat. Then place that hand back on the mat where the right foot is. And we're going to bring that right foot to the chest. Then shift it across the body and we're going to place it on the floor next to the left hand. Then open up this left hand into our star posture. Then come back round, shift back, three-leg dog. Bring this right knee to the chest and we'll hold for 3, 2, 1. Place it in between the hands. Rise up, high lunge. And then we'll twist round to the right side, bringing our right hand to the left leg, sweeping this left arm up and over, so we're opening up our hearts into a deeper back bend here. Frame the front foot, step back to our plank. Then we'll lower either knees, chest, chin or chaturanga, upward facing dog or cobra. Push back, downward facing dog, maybe taking a few breaths in child's pose here. Whatever your body is calling out for today. Then we'll bring those feet together, bend the knees, walk, step or jump between the hands. Raise up to standing, head and neck coming last. And we're going to build on this even deeper. So toes touching, heels slightly apart, inhale, hands up to the sky. Then see if you can get a bigger back bend before. Now we are a little bit warmer in our backs. So shifting our hips forward as our back bends and our arms and head come back. Bring it through centre, forward fold. Maybe taking a moment if you feel a little bit dizzy. Then we'll come to halfway lift. Then we're going to step back that right leg into our low lunge. Lift those arms up and come into our back bend. Place this right hand on the mat, so we're coming back into our easy twist. So we've been here before, open up the arm, to the right side of the mat. Place that left hand where the left foot is, lift the left foot up and place it across by the right hand into our star. Now we're going to come into wild things. This is quite tricky, so if you fall out of it, no worries, maybe you'll get it the next time. So we'll place our right hand back on the mat, lift the left leg up. Then we're going to twist on the outside edge of the right foot as if we were coming to side plank. And then we're going to let this left leg come onto the mat or the floor next to you. You can lower the hips for a second. So we've got right leg out long, left leg bent. Then we're going to pull ourselves up and come into a back bend in this position. So we're on our left foot and right hand, and our left hand is sweeping up and over. So lift up and over into wild thing. Then we'll shift round, placing that left hand onto the mat. Then we're going to step our left foot straight forward, so hopefully you're following, and then open up our arms into warrior two. So we should be facing the right outer edge of the mat, sinking into this left hip, arms out long in our warrior twos, gazing over our left hand. So if you didn't get wild thing that time, maybe you'll get it on the other side, and then we're going to incorporate into another little sequence as well. Then we're going to sweep forward and reverse our warrior. Bring all those hands to the front, step back to plank, lower knees, chest, chin or chaturanga, upward facing dog or cobra, shift those hips back, downward facing dog. Remembering you can always take a break whenever you need to. Then we'll bring those feet to the middle of the mat, bend through the knees, jump to the top and then rise up standing. So now we've got the other side to do. So toes touching heels slightly apart. Inhale, hands up to the sky, back bend, forward fold, halfway lift. Step back left leg now into our low lunge. Bring those arms up and come straight into our back bend. Place that left hand next to the right. Open up, easy twist. Arm coming to the left side of the mat. Place that right hand where the right foot is. Step it across the body so it's over by the left hand into our star. Then we're shifting into our wild thing. So we're placing our left hand back on the mat, pulling that right knee into the body, twisting as if we were going side plank, letting the foot touch the floor. Then we can lower to make sure we're in the correct position and gain momentum to get into the back bend. And we'll push up and open our hearts into wild thing. Then we'll sweep ourselves over, bring this right foot straight through, up through high lunge to open up into our warrior two. So we're facing the left side of the mat now, sinking into this right foot. And just taking a little breather here. Don't know about you, I'm certainly starting to get a sweat on. And we need to reverse. So sweep forward, reverse our warrior. Now we come into our frame the front foot and step back to plank. And we'll lower knees, chest, chin or chaturanga. Upward facing dog or cobra. Push back, downward facing dog. Bring those feet to touch, bend through the knees and jump to the top of the mat. And come up to standing, head and neck coming last. So now we're going to build on that a little bit more. So things you didn't get before, hopefully you'll get this time. So toes touching, heels slightly apart. Inhale, hands up to the sky, back bend. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Step back, right foot into our low lunge. Back bend. Then we'll come to our easy twist. Opening that heart, left hand coming to the right side of the mat. Then we're coming through to star. So we'll bring that left foot through to the outside of the right, open up to our star. Then we're going to come straight into wild thing. So right hand goes onto the mat, twist on the outside edge of the right foot into wild thing. Maybe getting a little bit deeper now. And then we're going to come back round to star. So using your core really, really strong here. Bring that back through to star. And then we're going to come back to wild thing. So twisting on the outside edge, over the top. And then we'll bring that left foot through, step between the hands and open up to warrior two. So if anyone got a bit lost, could just come into your warrior two now. Sweep forward into our reverse. And then we're going to come to half moon pose. So we're going to shift the weight through the centre. We're going to push all our weight into our left leg. And our right leg is coming off of the mat. And our left hands are coming to the front of the mat. So you might need to watch to understand. So we push into that foot, lift up. Right hand comes up to the sky. So in a nice balancing posture here. Opening up the hips. And then if you have the flexibility and would like the challenge, you can bend that right leg and then open the heart into sugarcane pose. So this is coming into our deeper heart opening variation. Then we're going to see if we can maintain the balance. So let go of that foot with control. Shift the hips into the midline. Lift that left hand off of the mat, bringing that right knee to the chest and pulling it into knee to chest pose. So seeing if you managed to do that without putting the foot down. If you did, amazing. It's very challenging. Now we're going to come into dancer's pose. So keeping that right knee into the chest. We're going to just let go of it so you can draw it back. Then you're going to catch either the outside or the inside. I prefer the inside, but it's completely up to you. And then we're going to push into that hand. So it's a counterbalance here. So as we push, the more our heart's going to come forward. So we need to push as hard as we can. And as we kick, our chest is going to come lower, lower, lower. And you're going to feel a nice opening through the legs and a back bend. With control, coming back through centre, and then we'll just let go, and we're just going to kick that right foot forward and hold for 3, 2, 1, and then lower. So now we've got the same on the other side. So come to the top of the mat. Inhale, hands up to the sky, back bend. Forward fold. Halfway lift. This time left leg steps back into our low lunge. Lift those hands up, coming into our back bend here. Place that left hand on the mat, open up, easy twist. Place this right hand where the right foot is, lift it up, cross it, get it across the body to the left hand, open up to star. Now we're going to see if we can flip to wild thing. So placing that left hand onto the mat, shifting over to the outside edge of the left foot as if we were coming to our side plank, letting that left foot meet the mat, right foot meet the mat, and open up to wild thing. Shift the body round, come back through to star, if possible, open up. Then come back round to wild thing one last time. Make it your deepest, fullest expression. And then shift back round. And we'll come into our warrior two, sinking into that right leg, arms coming out nice and long, gazing over that front hand. Now we'll reverse our warrior. And then we're going to come forward into our half moon on the right foot. So pushing into that right foot, shifting the body forward. Right hand comes to meet the mat and left hand comes up to the sky. Then we see if we can bend that left leg, catch the left leg with the left hand. You might just be in half moon still, and that's absolutely fine. It's still a very, very strong posture. Now with control, bringing those legs to the midline, lifting that right foot, right hand off the mat, bringing the left knee, it's getting so confused now, to the chest and hold here. And then we're going to come to our dancers. So seeing if we can do this without dropping the leg. So let go of the knee, catch that left foot, the left ankle with the left hand. So either inside or outside, it's up to you. I prefer the inside. Kick into that left hand. As we do this, our bodies will shift forward with the counter posture. Gazing over that right hand. Coming out with control. Bringing the knee through to the chest and then kicking it out forward and hold here for 3, 2, 1, and then lower. So now we're going to come to some seated postures. So we're going to bring our feet about hip width distance apart, toes pointing to the outside edges of the mat. Bring our hands to heart center and we're just going to lower into Malasana, our yogic squat. So using your elbows to push the knees out wider, maybe wiggling the hips from side to side if this feels nice. And then we're going to drop our bums to the floor. And we're going to do a little bit of core exercises. So we'll just do some boat dips. So legs out in front, hands to chest, and we'll dip to the right and the left. And we'll do this a few times. And then bring it to center, maybe straightening those arms and legs out long. And then we'll hug everything in. And then we'll release everything down to the mat. And we're going to take a bridge posture. So to do this, we want our feet to be hip width distance, fingertips to be touching the heels. And then we're going to push into our pelvis up towards the sky. So as we do this, we push up and then we shift our shoulders in until we can clasp our hands together, and this will just push us into a back bend. So chin to chest, don't look side to side, just listen to what I'm saying and breathe. Engaging those glutes to push the pelvic floor higher. And then lower down to the mat. So either taking that variation again, or you can come into a full wheel. But please just listen to your body. I am not there to support you, so just do what you can do today. So if you are coming to bridge, then just come into it like that, how we just did. If you'd like to come to wheel, we're going to bring the hands to about just above the shoulders. We're going to push into all 4 points of contact with the mat, so both hands and both feet. Push up, 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 until we get into our wheel posture. Maybe coming up onto the toes. And then lower by tucking the chin to the chest. And then we'll just keep our feet hip width distance. Drop the knees to the left, then to the right, and then to the left. Just loosening up any tension we just created in the lower back. Then we'll hug those knees in. Shift the hips over to the left, knees fall over to the right. Arms come up to cactus or T-shape. And then gaze over your left arm, coming into our supine twist. Come back through center, shift those hips over to the right, let the knees fall over to the left. Again, hands coming out to cactus or T-shape, gazing over that right hand. Bring those knees into the chest. Hug everything in one last time, bringing your noses to touch your knees. And then we'll just release everything down to the mat, coming into Shavasana. So maybe feeling the difference in your body from the start of the practice and now you're at the end. Making sure we're not holding any tension anywhere in our bodies. I really recommend staying here for another 5 minutes or so, but I'm going to close the practice now. And so if you are finishing with me, then we'll start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Bring those knees into the chest. And then falling over to the left or the right side, whichever suits you. And then keeping the eyes closed, come up to seated. So cross-legged or kneeling, entirely up to you. And we'll take a couple of releasing breaths all together. So we'll inhale, hands up to the sky. Exhale. And we'll do one more. Inhale. And exhale. Namaste.